I thought Ashleigh's video and, more importantly, her product were absolutely fascinating. This isn't an area that I've ever encountered or experienced before, so I was really interested to hear everything that she had to say. In terms of her options, I was really worried about the level of difficulty in relation to them. The universities and the hospitals, for example, selling into those markets is incredibly difficult. Will be intensely time consuming. There will be procurement teams that she has to deal with. There will be tender documents. She'll have to go before committees. And in the meantime, what is she going to be doing for revenue? Because very quickly, all of her time could be taken up with various hospital trusts for the NHS, for example, across the country. Whilst she seems like she would be achieving very little, or whilst ultimately there could be a great end goal if somebody did give the go-ahead and actually start purchasing some of her products. But in the meantime, really long-winded approach.
I think to some extent she's actually asking the wrong question. And the question that we're really looking at is developing the business-to-business selling skills necessary to sell her product to large institutions. But there are two ways of doing that. Option A is to actually get somebody else to do that selling for you. And I think that's where the idea of specialist companies has come from. i.e., you find someone who's a distributor of a number of medical products, you give them your product as another product, but they already have established communication routes and sales routes into the universities and the hospitals.
She should wholeheartedly focus on NHS and hospitals. That's where the growth is. It's kind of a no-brainer that is where the major need is. In order to penetrate and get into the NHS, I can understand that she doesn't have the right contacts or the right routes into it. Therefore, she should focus much more on networking and potentially look at recruiting a non-exec director from the industry to be on a board, to give her some credibility and to give the board some more experience.
I'd probably target the hospitals. The reason I say this is, although she hasn't got any contacts there at the moment, and they may not be readily available, time finding the right contacts will be time well spent, I think. And although she says about universities, there might be information available on the internet, although it might be easy to find, it might be the wrong kind of information, and she might actually end up wasting her time contacting the wrong people. She mentioned specialist companies as a potential route, and I think that sounds like a good idea, maybe kind of on the side of contacting hospitals. So it might be a short-term solution, it might provide additional income while she contacts hospitals, and I imagine with the nature of hospitals it might be a slightly lengthier process. But I think hospitals seem like a good target market for a long-term solution, and I think they're likely to have a budget for her training suits, especially because obesity is quite a growing problem in the UK.
I would also look at specialists and invite them to see the product and get some endorsements from them, which would help when she doesn't pitch to the NHS. She can also organise some demonstrations where people can come in and view the suit and wear it and actually feel how it feels and how realistic it is. When it comes to universities, you know, that there will be some business going through, but it's not going to be to the level of the NHS. The same goes for specialist companies, where she can actually kind of almost license out some of her products for them to resell. However, my favourite option is to go for the NHS wholehearted and really, really push it.
So I think if she was to be looking at the training hospitals and the hospitals, what she really needs to do is develop those business-to-business skills. And there I see two options. One, she learns how to do it herself, and there are plenty of people around who've got sort of significant business-to-business selling skills that could help her. There are courses and there are various other routes to learning and more about it. Or the second is to actually go out and recruit someone who has those skills to work for her. That is, however, costly and potentially risky. So I think the honest answer is, depending on how she feels about it, she needs to work out whether she's selling direct or she's selling through distributors. And that really will answer a question of whether it's B, selling to specialist companies who will then distribute the product for her, or the other option, to target the universities and hospitals herself after she's developed the right skill set to enable her to tackle them.
None of these options really feel to me as though they're right, and I wonder whether it would be worth Ashleigh going back and seriously thinking about her target market and how she would be able to get to that really quickly and efficiently. For example, perhaps working with a reseller who already has the contacts, or working and setting up a partnership with somebody, again, who already has the industry knowledge and the various contacts and understands how the markets that she's trying to get into work. So if I was going for one, it would be number 2, but actually I'd probably go back and revisit.